I'm on a mission and it's come straight from the top.
We are in intense negotiations to get our own test track.
If you're in the car business, having your own private, open stretch of tarmac can be incredibly valuable. Having your own space to do whatever you want with whatever cars you want and not having to mess with the public or local law enforcement can be virtually priceless. I reckon we all took it for granted back in the day that the trio had Dunsfold Aerodrome as their facility, somewhere that they could just nip out and film something whenever they wanted. So my mission today is to find a test track for DriveTribe to become our hub of content. And I think it makes sense to start here. Since the Grand Tour transitioned fully to individual specials, they've vacated this test track, which for legal reasons we can't call the name Jeremy gave it. So we're going to call it its name from World War II, RAF Rotten. It opened in 1940 and was used predominantly for the storage and assembly of fighter aircraft. It has since been taken over by the Science Museum in London as they use the hangars for storage of their largest objects. The Grand Tour used the north of the airfield, where we are now, with the south of the site now dominated by a huge solar panel farm. I've only ever seen this track on a laptop screen before, so it'll be good to get in the MG and trace out a lap. So here's the start line, and hopefully I get a better getaway than Mark Webber did. Now, we aren't allowed to drive this track at full chat today because, well, it's one of the main downsides of this track. If you want to go at full race pace, you need to supply basically all the safety gubbins, marshals, ambulances, and that can be very, very expensive. So after leaving the line, you very quickly end up onto the Isn't Straight. I'm fairly sure this is going to be the slowest car that's ever been down the Isn't Straight. But that should help me avoid the quite literal herd of deer that are in the undergrowth. Tell you what, Abby Eaton had some serious bottle to give the likes of a McLaren Senna and a Ford GT a proper spanking down here, because there's no Armco barrier to stop you leaving the track and heading into those very dense trees, but also no barrier to stop the wildlife coming onto the track. Pretty sketchy. Now this bottom corner, your name here, it would be perfect for some MG estate car tomfoolery, but it turns out I've got some quite precious cargo in the back, namely a very internet famous 2-litre V10. But while I'm down here, to make using a new track, having new project cars and running a YouTube channel viable, it's amazing to have a great group of sponsors, which is thankfully what we have. And today's video is sponsored by one of the best supporters of the DriveTribe channel, Manscaped. I have one of their kits in here somewhere. Yes. I always find my Manscaped kits around the back of 2-litre V10 engine blocks. It's January, new year, new racetrack and all that, so it's the perfect time to sort out your undercrackers with a proper grooming routine, and that's where Manscaped's performance package comes in handy. Let's start with the Lawnmower 4.0, their legendary ball trimmer that comes with advanced skin-safe technology to avoid any nasty snagging down there on the old chaps. Then there's the supporting troops, ball deodorant and ball toner to keep things fresh down there at short notice. There's the Weed Whacker for your nose and ear hair, and there's also a really top quality nail kit. I use this a lot. You may be thinking about buying a sick new car to impress your significant other. My girlfriend hates this car, but everybody loves a manscaped man. So take care of your pair and make sure to use the right tools for the job. Use our discount code DriveTribe20 to get 20% off your performance package with free international shipping and also 2 free gifts. Go on, treat yourself. Right, let's get this packed away. And hopefully we'll see you running in the near future. And now we're heading back up the Isn't Straight, which of course means that this place could never be a racetrack because you're going to end up meeting oncoming race cars, which is not the way to go, unless you're one of those figure-of-8 racers, but they're just psychos. And that's another reason why the old Top Gear track, Dunsfold Aerodrome, can't really be used as a proper racetrack, more of a test track, because it is actually a figure-of-8. Then comes arguably the even sketchier bit of the track, because you're hard braking into what you think is a shallow corner, but then you realise you need to make a full hairpin turn right into here. Keeps going, right in to Old Lady's house. Now, it's not a myth. We have quite literally seen the old lady entering our house this morning with her shopping. We didn't want to disturb her, but trust me, she's in there. Then you're on to what you could class as the back straight past these enormous World War II hangars, and this is by far the tightest area of the track, so you don't want to get anything wrong here. All the way up to substation, and as Jeremy has said, you don't want to go in there, otherwise you could be a little bit fried. And then these really nice two 90-degree left-handers. Get the car in, clip that apex at 50 miles an hour. And that's it. A lap of RAF Wroughton. To find out what has been happening here since Clarkson, Hammond and May packed up, I managed to grab the Associate Director of the facility, Matt, for a quick chat.
So this is owned by the Science Museum Group, and it's where we store the bulk of our collection. Everything from aeroplanes to nuclear missiles through to bicycles. So some of the hangars on this part of the site contain aeroplanes, fire engines, the world's first hovercraft, electric cars, hydrogen fuel cell cars, motorbikes, you name it. If humans have invented it, there's something stored in one of these hangars. This site is primarily a storage site, but it will be open to the public in 2024, so we'll start having visitors coming and going from the site to see our collection. But also we're transitioning into a science and innovation park where our focus will be using the outdoor space for autonomous vehicle testing, low carbon vehicle testing, and right the way through to the things that we see here being filmed today.
If we were to set up shop here, it would be where we would drive our project cars, Mondeo ST200, V10 MX-5, as well as brand new cars that we think you guys would like to see and hear. And we'd also invite our friends over. We'd have Abby Eaton back, Tiffany Dell, Ben Collins, Jimmy Broadbent, just to have a muck about. This place would become our home. But the whole safety situation and the expense and complication of essentially having to staff the track ourselves whenever we want to film makes this location a bit tricky. So I would like some help from you guys. I'm going to show you all of the nearby locations that could become Drive Tribe test tracks, and I would like you guys to comment below with which one you think makes the most sense. So let's start with here, RAF Wroughton. Its upsides: it has the connection to the Grand Tour, which will work very nicely for YouTube titles like this one. It is by far and away the closest track to the smallest cog and Richard Hammond's home, and also I'll be moving to this area very soon, so it will be super convenient. Downsides: it isn't expensive up front for renting, but if you want to go over 50 miles an hour, you suddenly have to pay for all the marshals, and it suddenly becomes very expensive when normal tracks have all of the safety stuff within a normal package. Next, there's Landau, a lovely little circuit just over the border in Wales, so it's still nice and close. It's also super cheap, easy to learn, and marshals are part of the package. Its downsides: it can get a bit busy. Top Gear, Evo and CarWow use it on the reg, so we might bump into them every now and then. It's not the most visual of circuits either, so on camera it might become a bit samey after a few videos. Castle Combe, a well-established UK track, which you guys will have seen in the Supercar for Mondeo Money episode of Top Gear. It's fast and flowing and is again nice and local. Downsides though: it isn't the most visual of tracks again, being an old airfield ring road, and the Armcos go right around the track, which make it quite difficult to film compared to other options. Thruxton, as Tiffany Dell proudly proclaims, the fastest racetrack in the UK. There are some cracking corners and it's a very good test of a car. Downsides, it's a track that regularly features big time race events like the British Touring Cars, so it's expensive. It's also a big ring road circuit like Castle Combe, so it's not the easiest to film at. And then there's nearby old airfields that are just sitting around, like RAF Hullivington and Weston Zoyland, but the tarmac can be pretty dodgy if it hasn't been relaid since the 1940s, and flying clubs generally dominate proceedings at them. Also, unless you put out cones, airfields can be super barren, hence why the likes of Dunsfold has the odd tyre wall put up. So, which one of those do you think makes the most sense? I think I know which one we should go for, but before we make any decisions, I would like to hear from you guys. So, comment below. We are incredibly lucky in the UK that we have so many airfields that were built during the Second World War that have then transformed into racetracks or simply kept as airfields. So there are a lot to pick from. So guys, get commenting, and while you guys are having a think, I'm gonna have a think behind the wheel. At 50 miles an hour, of course.